Hey there, everyone. I hope you guys and your families and friends are all safe during these crazy times. This is Christina from Team One, and we decided to do our project on big data, data mining, and business analytics in relation to Netflix. And this is by Team One, Carl, myself, Katie, Jenna, and Jasleen. Just to give a little bit of an overview, I'll begin by giving an introduction to big data in the relation to success, the operations, and decision making in companies. We'll later discuss concepts, principles, and techniques and methods, and also applying these methods to a case study, and also the lessons learned from that case study. In addition, we will also discuss the future developments for big data. As most of you are aware of already, data has become extremely important for companies to extract and apply data throughout the business. Big data defined is data information so complex that regular data tools cannot diagnose it. Big data is also characterized by the 5 V's. There were originally 3, but now they've extended that out to 5. But these are volume, the size of the data; variety refers to the range of the type of data; velocity is speed; value is how useful the data can be; and veracity, the quality of the data. Companies must be able to adapt to these ever-changing characteristics, but many corporations now have the technology to capitalize on this enormous amount of data. Our textbook defines data mining as providing insights into corporate data by finding hidden patterns and relationships in large databases and inferring rules from them to predict future behavior. This technology allows businesses to extract specific information in order to determine patterns in data. Business analytics then provide the tools needed to diagnose and understand the data that was derived from data mining. Individuals then evaluate this data and apply it throughout the business. Most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Netflix. It is the leading company in online streaming services, which provides movies, television shows, documentaries, and other media content. Netflix has attracted more than 167 million subscribers worldwide and is extremely simple to use and offers an affordable price. Netflix utilizes big data, data mining, and business analytics tools to organize and evaluate a large amount of data due to their large subscriber amount. Netflix is also considered a true big data company because this technology provides personalized recommendations and ensures accurate content delivery through their mobile-based and web-based applications. Netflix has definitely paved the way for innovation in the online streaming service world. According to many sources, Netflix has honestly revolutionized the way we look at entertainment. Individuals of all ages now have the freedom to view entertainment on their own schedule with a complete customization of their own preferences. This technology has influenced other companies such as Hulu, Disney+, and even Amazon Prime Video. These companies gather data to create a comprehensive picture to enhance service while also increasing their long-term profits. These technologies have added a great amount of value to this sector and gives Netflix a competitive advantage in the market of entertainment. When it comes to business operations, Netflix uses big data in almost every aspect of their operation. For example, they use it in their established model of personalization, communication, or all the way to marketing. The company also relies heavily on technological infrastructure to support their use of data. It must be able to support millions and millions of users at any given point in time. In addition, Netflix relies on big data utilization to compartmentalize and distribute information required by this huge amount of data in demand. The data provides the tools to efficiently and effectively serve millions of customers at a time, which allows business operations to run smoothly. When it comes to decision-making in business, big data has definitely streamlined this process. For example, Netflix has recently started creating its own content, its own movies, its own television shows. And during the creation of one of their television shows, data was used to make decisions for the project. Even the colors that were used on the cover image for the show used data in order to draw viewers in. This proves that even the smallest details can be derived from data to help employees make business decisions. This concept is revolutionizing management as well. Leaders can now make decisions based on evidence instead of intuition. Because of widely available data, data-based decisions are more reliable and accurate for businesses. Multiple aspects of business functions can now be supported by utilizing big data techniques across companies.
Netflix is one of the biggest streaming services in the world. The reason for that is how Netflix approaches content and gather its audience. Its whole concept is about being creative and always coming up with new and unique ideas. Their whole plan is based on data and not opinion. By testing these new ideas, Netflix collects data from their members and it guides them for product development. It uses controlled A/B experiments to test all the changes that happen to their product, including new member sign-up, streaming algorithms, payment methods. A/B testing is a live experiment that compares two versions of a thing to find out which one works better. Version A is what users experience normally, and version B is when they're trying to achieve a particular goal and see if it works better. Audiences watch version A and then half are diverted to version B, and then they collect the results to see which one worked best. When A/B experiments are not possible, Netflix uses Casey experiments and causal inference methods. They use these methods to measure new marketing ideas. They also have an active applied research agenda to improve their experimental design. Netflix's strategy is very tactical. It invests in original content which keeps its member entertained and wanting more. Netflix does not rely on opinion but actual data, and this is why its subscribers grow tremendously. It tracks when you watch a new show, when you pause, play, what time, and what kind of content you watch. It uses actual data to create a better experience for their members and understand their behavior that makes members stick around longer. Its marketing is not very traditional, but rather innovative. Netflix's use of social media like their Twitter and Instagram really helps their strategy. They try to relate to their followers by replying all the time and posting funny tweets. They engage themselves in everyday conversations. As a streaming site, it is very important to stay connected with the members and keep them updated about everything. Also, it really helps when companies ask their customers what they want and how to make it better for them. Netflix does exactly that and tries to connect to their audience and also values their opinions. Netflix really listens to its members and tries to make their experience better. Their site is easy to browse and they do not have many complaints about members getting confused. Netflix has their own original shows on their site as well. They never shy away from being innovative and trying new things, which we can see through their original content. They strive to make their members more and more interested in their new shows, and most of the time they succeed as well. It also tends to a more diverse audience by having movies and TV shows in different languages. They have multilingual shows and movies on their site, which increase their diversity. They also market their new shows and movies very well on their social media. It always tries to be creative and experiments with new ideas. Their executives take time to understand experimental methods and test results, and they keep close interaction with their lab scientists to ensure their decisions are from statistical and business perspectives.
Hello everyone, my name is Jenna and I'm going to be talking about how Netflix uses big data and apply it to a case study. So Netflix takes the big data that it collects from its users and then begins the analytical layer of the business model. Netflix compiles a large amount of data from its users, all 167 million of them. These are large amounts of data that would be impossible for humans alone to analyze and efficiently provide insight of key performance indicators, or KPIs. Therefore, Netflix uses business intelligence and machine learning to create a complex web of algorithms that are used towards formalizing a personalized browsing experience for all of its users. So Netflix analyzes hundreds of different characteristics of its users' habits to create these algorithms. So a couple examples would be they look at how long it takes for a user to choose a title. They look at the type of title, so whether it's a TV show, a movie, or a documentary. They also look at what time it was when they selected that title, in addition to what type of title. So they're looking at what time are they watching their TV shows, what time are they watching movies. They also look at the artwork of the title, so the type of colors that were on the title, what attracts that user. So they will give suggestions that have a similar artwork, so it'll be more appealing for the user and they're more likely to select it. And various other characteristics. They also take a look at playback characteristics. So when they choose a title, when they're watching a title, they look at whether they paused it, how often they paused it, if so. They looked at whether they rewinded the show, did they fast forward, did they abandon the show, did they watch the show all the way through, are they continuing to watch episodes. So then they'll make suggestions on their search page that are similar to the type of shows. Depending on what time they're looking at the search box, depends on what type of titles will pop up in the suggestions. So this is just a small fraction of the type of characteristics that are compiled into data and then analyzed to create this experience. They're very large amounts of data, seemingly simple amounts of data, but and the use of machine learning leads to Netflix's ability to focus its business model on the demand for technical viewing quality, as well as the mobile accessibility and capacity of content. So after analyzing all of this data, it is possible to identify whether subscribers' preferences are linked to Netflix's services of high rate of use. And then also, with the use of machine learning and artificial intelligence, with the ability to analyze this data so quickly and automatically, Netflix was able to take the algorithms and they're able to look at users' preferences, and they're actually able to create a new business unit within Netflix, which is Netflix Originals. So the sole purpose is to create in-house productions on their online platform. They can use the data that they receive from its users and create content that is to their users' liking. So this is content that is pretty much guaranteed their users are going to like it because it is similar to the titles that the user prefers. So they have been very successful in this new business unit just because they're able to produce content that is directly related to what their users like. So it has been very beneficial for Netflix. So the findings in this case study is that business intelligence has provided Netflix with much more efficiency in providing a personalized and positive browsing experience for its users. If it was not for business intelligence, Netflix would not be able to quickly analyze the data it receives from its users, and it would not be able to create third-party content that is to their users' likings. So business intelligence has provided Netflix with a high degree of customer satisfaction due to the positive and personal experience. Users are able to log on to Netflix, and it's almost as if Netflix is reading their mind and just knows exactly what they want. And Netflix blatantly does this by, in the browsing experience, they have sections that say, because you watched this title, a title that the user has watched. So it's very obvious that Netflix is really, really looking for what its user prefers and what its users like, its likes. So they can provide them with content, third-party content, as well as content from other sources that are to the user's liking. So this is what has made Netflix so successful and has made users come back and continue to use the platform.
Hello, this is Carl Revelo with Team One. In conclusion, Netflix has established itself as a leading online streaming service through the analysis of big data collected from its users. Big data is composed of veracity, value, velocity, variety, and volume. Netflix tracks every aspect of its customers' experience with its application through data mining and business analytics, which is then used to inform every business decision that Netflix makes. Data mining evaluates and finds patterns in large quantities of data to help predict future behaviors. Business analytics allows companies to use the proper techniques to evaluate and act on data provided by data mining. The combination of data mining and analytics allow companies to successfully evaluate and act on big data. Netflix's ability to collect, organize, and store enormous amounts of big data along with state-of-the-art analytic methods has made it a true big data company. In order for an intranet company the size of Netflix to survive, it must continuously collect and utilize innovative data mining and business analytics techniques to optimize the use of its big data. Netflix's core strategy is to utilize big data to guide their every business decision, from product development to marketing. A couple techniques used by Netflix are controlled A/B testing and/or quasi-experiments to test any ideas that may affect membership, algorithms, payment methods, etc. These data-driven results are then used to inform data-based decisions. This approach is further supported by the Netflix business executives that are closely involved with the experimental process to ensure that decisions are being made from both a statistical and business perspective. Netflix also uses data analysis to set key performance indicators and establish other metrics such as return on investment to help drive business decisions. Netflix creates a library of data collected by algorithms developed by millions of user habits to analyze their big data to inform decisions that increase their satisfaction. This large volume of data Netflix approach to analyzing it allows them to focus their business model on user viewing quality, interface satisfaction, and mobile accessibility. Would not be able to collect and analyze the quantity of data they do without business intelligence, which is the key to Netflix's use of data in decision making. Business intelligence enables Netflix to utilize machine learning to efficiently establish trends and anticipate future behaviors of its customers. Moreover, Netflix uses artificial intelligence led to its development of its in-house production of Netflix originals, created from the analysis of the data collected from its user preferences while browsing its online platform. Netflix is also a very active participant on social media platforms as another way to engage its audience and collect more data on their likes and dislikes. Netflix touts its business decision making being based on data and not opinion. Netflix also uses an innovative marketing approach to better understand their audience. This includes being very involved and responsive on social media sites such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Netflix's involvement on social media provides more opportunity for Netflix to engage its customers and collect more data on their preferences. Netflix is able to anticipate what each of its customers' preferences are and suggest shows or movies they may be interested in. Netflix's ability to anticipate user helps to save its customers time and frustration by not having to search through endless shows and movies to find something they may or not be interested in. Netflix's personalized experience has provided them with a high level of customer satisfaction, loyalty, and a competitive advantage in the online streaming arena. Netflix has capitalized on the big data collected by its 167 million worldwide users by not only being highly competitive, but also by creating a new sector of personalized TV experience that other competitors have no choice but to mimic for survival. Netflix investment in big data to help drive its personalization of streaming services has allowed Netflix to establish a competitive advantage in this market. Netflix's use of its big data enables it to efficiently and effectively respond to its customers' preferences at any given moment. This personalized TV experience is unique to each customer based on their preferences and interaction with the application. Netflix has been a pioneer in using big data to drive innovation. Netflix Originals is a prime example of this innovation where content for shows and movies has actually been developed by big data analytics to determine what its customers like, dislike, and would most likely watch. Netflix used big data to inform every decision in the development of its Netflix Originals, which has been a huge success. From colors to images, every detailed decision was based on data of what customers preferred. This is a prime example of the power of big data in allowing Netflix to focus its resources to provide content that has a very high probability of being a success. Multiple aspects of Netflix business rely on the use of big data rather than intuition to provide more accurate and reliable business decisions. Netflix has leveraged the value of big data in new and innovative ways to inform its every business decision and capitalize on its continuous customer feedback to provide a high level of customer satisfaction and loyalty, which ultimately equates to the most secure competitive advantage.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I am here to wrap up this presentation and to discuss the future outlook for Netflix and for big data. So, one of the main important factors of this is that with the exponential growth that we have seen in the technology sector, it's nearly impossible for us to have accurate predictions of the future trends. An example of this is Netflix. In 1997, when Netflix was founded, it was only used for movie rentals by mail. In a relatively short amount of time, their entire business model has changed drastically. Now they do not only movie rentals by mail, but also content creation with Netflix Originals, as well as on-demand streaming, which is instantaneous in the home. This exponential growth makes it difficult to predict future trends because those huge jumps in technology and business model just make it difficult to say, oh, this is where we're going to be in 10 years, because 10 years prior, we could never have even, in our wildest dreams, guessed that we would be here 10 years later. One of the main things that will be looking to be improved in the future is the analysis of the data that is collected, to be able to predict and make better decisions based on the information we have. One of the things that will be largely focused on, I think, is to be able to distill larger and larger data sets into usable information, as well as improving the end-to-end process from getting the information to being able to use the information and making that faster, because as we have seen, that tends to be a long-term process. If that was instantaneous, then managers and other decision makers would be able to make those decisions quickly. The size and the type of data is also something that will be changing and growing as time goes on. Larger data sets mean more to analyze, so being able to analyze that quickly, as well as different types of data, including imaging data, clicks, the text data, what gets sent to who. All of those different kinds of data have be able to come together and change, and be able to create more information that decision makers are able to make decisions based on. Another factor, and this is Netflix specific, is globalization. So Netflix is currently expanded into 190 countries, which is a lot of different countries. However, those countries, like for example, the US is a huge country. We have huge different cultural niches throughout the country. The example that I used in the paper and that I will use here as well is the culture in Mobile, Alabama is very different than the culture in Portland, Oregon. The religion that's predominantly practiced, the culture, socioeconomic levels, all kinds of different things go into making those places very different. So although they are in the same country, they have very different cultures. Now, Netflix currently makes its recommendation based on country alone. So one of the things that they're working to do is to be, and that will be getting better in the future, is to be able to make those predictions and recommendations as a firm to each specific cultural niche more than each country. This will increase the accuracy and increase the appropriateness of those recommendations done by Netflix. So another issue that we're facing right now is the concerns about privacy. And so one of the big things is that as this data thing and these big data and this data mining has really taken off, legislation has had a hard time keeping up. Legislation is a very slow moving animal. It takes a lot of time for bills to catch up. And data mining and big data have really kind of grown overnight from a legislation standpoint. So currently, there is little to no oversight that is effective. The main focus right now is the regulation of collecting data, and so it's regulated based on what can be collected and what cannot be collected. However, what is growing and what will be a much larger portion of that issue in the future is going to be regulating the use of that data. Not so much what can be collected, but what can be used, I hate to say it, against you to determine what people are going to be able to use. Lastly, the current suggestion on the table by experts is going to be an internal audit and external review process. So like much of the banking sector, it's a lot of internal audit, external review. So you're going to do your own audit, and then you're going to be reviewed by an external entity. So that tends to be the suggestion from experts on the table. Lastly, and I include this mostly because I found it to be pretty fascinating, is that firms are turning toward using this data mining and big data to on their own employees. So employees are facing this kind of unprecedented thing where employers are able to collect data on them and then use that data to predict their future with the company. It was suggested in a couple of the articles that I read that this data will be used to be able to predict if a person's going to resign or if a person's going to take sick time at a certain point in time. And what is interesting about that is that it kind of reminds me of the old phrase, people don't change, but a person can change. So the quote that was in the article is, the person who resigns may not be the person you predicted would not resign, because people change individually. As people, we see great change. And with that, it's interesting to see that people are trying to make predictions for individual people, while that may be difficult. In summation, there's going to be a lot of change that we see in the next probably 3 years, and much more in the next 10 years regarding this big data. There's going to be astronomical change that we really are at a loss to predict at this point. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.